right now, menstrual products are extremely expensive. We see what's called a tampon tax. It's not just on tampons. The alliteration sounds nice, but sales tax on menstrual products still are persisting in 31 states, even though a lot of states don't tax things like tattoos, pixie sticks in some cases, I've even heard.
There's an understanding of periods first as a women's only issue, and it's not as a societal issue, and a separation of women from just being part humans and being guaranteed human rights, and then instead only being women and only being separated from the rest of society. And so I think because of that and because of our framing of menstrual equity as a women's only issue, as opposed to something that really affects our sisters, our moms, our friends, everyone, we kind of closet it away and don't talk about it. And because of that, there's a lack of menstrual hygiene access because of the way that companies are able to frame it as a luxury and able to frame it as this women's only product that's just something that people do not need but want.
They are perceived as a necessity and there are no alternatives. Because we can't control the fact that we menstruate, we as menstruators menstruate once a month approximately, we can't avoid that event. We can't do something to prevent it unless you have access to contraceptives, which is another layer of accessibility and privilege that you need to have.
I think people think that it's like this is a problem that they have in Africa because A, racism, but B, like that's just a place that people associate bad things with, right? Which is also because of A, racism. But they think that this is like a problem that doesn't affect many people, whereas like the reality of the situation is everyone that that menstruates has probably been in a situation at some point in their life, whether because of funding or not, that they did not have access to the menstrual products they need, and it caused them undue stress and anxiety. That's happened to everyone at least once. When it happens all the time, that's just adding to like the shame and pressure and stress of like being socialized as a woman and like being raised like with these expectations, because like it's your job to deal with this. Like there is no fallback. There are no social services to cover this, right? Like this is not something that they don't have them at food pantries. Even one could argue that they may be, if not more, like similarly essential. There's not easy access to these things.
I mean, the financial one's probably the biggest one, but also maybe like a time barrier, like where like they maybe don't have the time to be like purchasing period products when like they're working like a 12-hour shift at a job, or like maybe even like spatial, like they can't like afford to like go all the way to like buy period products. There's like a lot of different barriers that only like that privilege is allowing you to get past.
Under Title IX of the Educational Amendments of 1972, schools can't discriminate on the basis of sex. My co-authors, Bridget Crawford and Emily Waldman from Pace Law School, and I have written an article that talks about the fact that not having access to period products, being harassed because you menstruate at school, and not providing adequate sex education so that all students learn about menstruation, as well as letting people take bathroom breaks when they need to address their period. All these things are sex discrimination and should be addressed and shouldn't be allowed under Title IX. Lack of period products have been shown to hurt attendance by people who menstruate. They show up late, they leave early, they maybe don't go to school at all, or they can't attend when they're in school because they don't know where they're going to find their next tampon or pad. And having products in the nurse's station, which some schools do, that could be 2 floors up or 2 floors down. They have to ask for the right to go to the nurse, and sometimes that is a barrier in and of itself because the teacher then asks, what do you need it for? And they don't want to announce it in front of the entire class. So having access to period products shouldn't be a privilege, it should be a right.